Oh, what a beautiful day, Chad. What a lovely day.
I know, right? I'm sitting outside for this episode by the stop sign just to keep an eye on these crazy Americans who are doing things they shouldn't be doing.
For a hot sec, I was super excited because I thought you actually were sitting outside, but...
you could today. It's been a good day weather-wise, Jared.
That's true. That's true.
Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. We are here today to talk about things you can't do in the U.S., but you are able to do in other countries. So this will be a fun episode today. A lot of people may have heard that the United States is the quote-unquote land of the free. We're going to explore today if that's really the case, because I think after our conversation today, you might have some different opinions on the land of the free. Almost said land of the three there, but there's 50 states, not three of them. But anyways, we're going to get into that today and talk about some things you can't do. But if you do want to do some of these things, we'll mention also where you could go in order to get some of these things done. So without further ado, I am joined by my good buddy and my soon-to-be relocated Ferndaler, I guess you could say. What's going on, Jared?
I've been robbed. No, I'm kidding. So
I came by Jared's place and just cleaned it out.
Give me your bookshelf.
And your IKEA table.
Yes. But I still do have my router, and we can still do this podcast. That's all that really matters. Land of the free, my ass. That's what I learned today, Chad. I thought we've been lied to all these years, and I'm shocked and hurt. I thought, first of all, land of the free. We shouldn't have laws. If it's really the land of the free, let me make my own decisions. I
wonder where would you even go if you wanted to do that? Just kind of start afresh. Make your own laws. You have to buy a private island.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe you could buy, but you'd have to buy a big island, like a big enough island, because if you're doing any proper authoritarian governing, if you're really doing it right, I mean, you got to have more than 20 people,
right.
You need to at least be able to hold 1,000 people on this.
And if you're going to start a cult, you also need more than 20 people. Just saying.
Do you really?
I feel like a cult with 20 people is not.
That's true. That's just, yeah.
When I think of a cult, especially a U.S. one of those wacky
a church.
cults.
You think of a church or some commune they're all outside on a farm being preached to or something.
And the one top person just wears a robe all the time.
Yeah, they're all just doing work on the farm when they're not being preached to.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it is. Hey, we've been bamboozled. Let me ask you this, Chad. I'm curious.
Bamboozled.
By the way, you can follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. I don't know why you would. There's nothing really there. You can also follow us on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. And you can also give us 5-star reviews. That would be greatly appreciated. And because I put in the work, and I'm going to find those drop, and I'm going to play it, the Russian thank you. So,
Пожалуйста. There we go. That's your welcome, but...
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Do you still plan on going to Germany? Because, if I'm not mistaken, your friend or whatever is getting married in a month.
Yes, sir.
You bought a ticket?
I haven't bought the ticket yet, but I'm still planning on going. I've gotten
You've
the
been
clearance
looking at
my work.
Travel Snap or whatever. How did I forget what it's called?
Skyscanner.
Skyscanner
is the one I like.
Completely forgot what it was called.
I actually no. I've been going straight to the source, straight to the good old Lufthansa website. So I've been going there.
Lufthansa is a real bougie choice. So you
That's
only fly
my favorite.
Lufthansa?
Yes, sir. If I'm going to Germany,
you're telling me, Chad, the cheapest person I've ever met in my life, that you'll only fly Lufthansa to Europe or to Germany?
I mean, if I can do it for a fair price, yeah.
What? Your priorities are so interesting.
Well, Jared, I mean, there's
Delta
there's
just
certain
won't cut
things,
it for you. Delta is just that's a low rent.
I mean,
shit. That's
Delta's
shit.
fine. Delta's fine, actually. I don't mind Delta,
But you're specifically seeking out Lufthansa.
when I fly to Germany, it
first,
just
I
seems like
guess.
it works best.
I mean,
Every time we've
Lufthansa's
had
a nice airline, but that just
we've
seems
had
like
no
a very
hiccups.
bougie move.
I don't want to jinx myself here, Jared, but not once have they
How often
lost
do you
my
have
luggage.
hiccups, period.
They lose your luggage.
Who?
Serious flight delays, either Lufthansa or the airport or whoever. Canceled flights. I have had some friends who've just had straight up canceled flights, and then, it was a whole ordeal to get all their other stuff rescheduled. I'm going to knock on some wood here, Jared, but I've had good luck with Lufthansa every time I've flown to Germany. I think I even flew Lufthansa when I went to the Czech Republic, if I remember correctly. I did fly Delta, though, to China
And it was just
Delta
garbage.
back. It was okay. It was
Everything
all right.
was, but no Lufthansa.
No, it wasn't that Lufthansa Qualität.
Yeah,
That's for
yeah.
sure.
No, I understand. You like those Germans serving you. I understand it. It feels right.
Was möchten Sie trinken?
It's just a sort of utopian world for you.
Right.
This is how it should be. Germans
right.
taking care of everything.
It gets me in the mindset to go speak
I don't-
German once I
I
land.
certainly have nothing against Lufthansa. I'll actually one up
Sounds
you.
like it.
I'll actually one up you a little. No, Lufthansa's a
Ooh,
great airline.
okay.
I'll actually one up you a little bit myself and say I'm more of an LTU fan personally. If
What's
I had to
LTU?
choose, I have no idea. But I know it's related to Lufthansa.
Okay.
It's an airline, LTU.
Never heard of it before.
All right. Well, see, that's because it's actually based in Dusseldorf. Interesting. That's because you're a low class person. Chad.
Well, thank you, Jared.
If I'm not
I appreciate
mistaken, I remember one time in my life. This was a commercial flight, and it was when I lived in Germany. My parents' company paid for one or two trips or whatever, probably one. I don't know the number. I was a child, but they paid for like a trip to the U.S. Like a year or whatever for us, and they bought and they used and it could be business class. And I
Ooh,
remember
all right.
one time it was an LTU plane, I believe, or something Swiss related, Swiss something.
Air?
I don't know. Maybe I guess that's the Swiss one, and it must have been like. I don't know, 12 to 20 rows, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all like business class style seats. And that was it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it was an international flight.
so you had some leg room, probably some
from-
good food.
And I saw that once in my life, and it's been in my head forever. And I was just like, what the hell was that? It was certainly not a private jet. There
It's
were
all
other
right,
people.
Jared.
There were flight attendants like a normal flight, but it was just like the sort of business class style like pods, and there were like 20 rows of them or something. And it was so interesting to me. There was so much space.
It's all right. One day, Jared, we're going to do an untranslatable world tour, and we'll get you one of those planes, and we'll take a ride from Switzerland to somewhere else, and we'll be good to go.
Oh, I don't think LTU exists anymore. I think that's
Oh, that's a bummer. Maybe not. I take that back then. Sure.
it was dissolved by this
By
was a very
Lufthansa?
short-lived air. LTU legally was a German leisure airline. Oh, so maybe it
Nice.
was. I've never heard of a leisure airline.
Means it's fancy, Jared.
It operated medium and long haul routes and maintained hubs at Dusseldorf Airport. Okay, see now this is starting to add up a little bit. I'm starting to sound
Yep.
less crazy. Munich
for
Airport
yourself.
and Berlin Tegel. LTU was acquired by Air Berlin in 2007. Use of the LTU. See, I was in Germany from 2004 to 2008, so this is adding up. And then it ceased. The brand ceased in 2009, and then the company in 2011. So yeah, I think
Okay.
it was LTU.
You were just there, just at the right time.
It was
basically.
the perfect
seems like.
time for this stupid experiment of leisure commercial flight.
And it clearly had an effect on you, Jared. It's burned into your memories still.
Yeah, but it also clearly had effect on the stakeholders because it seems like people lost
went
a lot
out
of
of business, right? It's because they're not packing them in there like sardines, maximizing all their profits.
Exactly.
On a leisure
Spirits like
airline-
idiots. Look at these idiots trying
Well, what
to give
they got
people
to do is they need to like
creature
charge
comforts.
you some crazy amount for like your bags because if you got really wealthy people,
Yeah.
you might be able to somehow do that. But yeah, oh man, that's interesting though.
So, I brought that up though. I'm surprised you're still planning on going because it's a month away, and I guess we got sidetracked about my shock of your
Mm-hmm.
Lufthansa brand loyalty. Did you hear? I would say fair warning. Are you aware that there has been a rise of FAA reports of rage incidents on since the beginning of this year? Essentially, actually, since the beginning of the pandemic, I should say.
Doesn't surprise me.
I'm just saying, be careful out there, dude.
Are you okay? I will.
It's so intense that they've had to increase the FAA. By the way, not when I say they, has had to increase fines for like these sort of incidents in the air to, I guess, try to deter people. Have you seen any of these videos?
Seen some fights. Yeah.
There's been one recently. Obviously, people on Twitter always got jokes. It was on a Spirit Airlines, and someone like, "See, this is why I never follow Spirit. This is why you only
Southwest,
buy Lufthansa."
Watch out.
There was a full-on like fist fight happening. 35,000 feet in the air on a Spirit flight recently.
Worst time to get in a fight ever.
Oh my gosh! And I just like, and then I saw some other video.
So mad.
A couple days later, of someone like squaring up to someone on like in the air again, but like people around them were like holding them back, and I'm like, why?
Right.
What would even like fighting is the last thing I put. It's just so foreign to me because I put such an effort in to to pay attention to no one at the airport. Like in my mind, like if it's ideally, I'm just in like a bubble where no one is around me, and I'm just here, and I'm just like moving around the world.
Got your headphones
and I'm
in.
like, why are you trying to start this much shit? The FAA says it's gotten 1,300 reports in the past 3 months as the number of passengers remain below pre-pandemic levels.
So see, here's the thing about the pandemic rage. I wonder, Jared, if it's, one, people are just being impatient, and two, I wonder if some of it's because a lot of people haven't been able to travel so long that they're just going nuts.
I think this is the first time that a lot of like these flights are the first times for a lot of people getting back into society, period. And some people have that instinct to like, oh, we gotta party hard, we gotta
Roaring 20s, baby.
But then there's also the people that are like that feed off of just these sort of anger moments. And there's probably a lot of pent up anger that people are excited to get out, much like people are excited to party and have a good time.
Right.
People are like, man, I need this release of being angry. And I'm not even kidding. I truly believe that.
Well, Jared, speaking of having a party and a good time, I mean, they basically have said, according to my buddy who's having his wedding, the cases have dropped low enough now over there where they should be able to still have their actual reception. They'll have about 50 people. Tell you what, blows my mind thinking about being in like a room with 50 other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have me as a test case because I was in that situation recently. Do you? Sorry, and I forgot what I was gonna say. Doesn't matter. But they're just listing off in this article after that just the
rage cases.
And of course, and listen to this. Let me just read some of this for you. A couple cases of plane rage were caught on camera in Arizona through the past year. One of the most recent was on an Allegiant flight taking off from Mesa last October. The fight was over a face mask. In August, a 47-year-old woman was arrested and banned from American Airlines following an air fight. It was also over a face mask.
Of course it was. She was probably a mouth breather.
I think I actually saw that one on Twitter, and if I didn't see that one, I did see some woman screaming at people without a mask on last week on Twitter. So I say I saw that incident, but it's also very likely that that's a completely different incident I saw of some maskless person screaming at people on an airplane.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, but I guess I didn't realize how bougie you were and that you would only fly Lufthansa regardless of the costs. And you certainly won't see any of these.
I wouldn't say regardless of the costs.
No, you would.
If it's reasonable. So right now, Jared, I'm looking at about $1,300 to $1,500 to get over there and back.
That's a lot of money, dude. There is
not really, not for a flight
during a pandemic. Yeah. There's no way flights are that expensive to Germany right now.
Bro, it's
a pandemic.
That is not expensive to go to Germany during the summer, especially right when they're saying they're going to be opening up travel for vaccinated Americans.
Okay. I mean that's not a shocking price for like.
Let me also say
that's
this,
not
Jared.
a shocking price for tourist season, normal time of the. If it's if you told me you just last year. Or I guess 2 years ago, that you were just flying, buying a ticket to Germany in July, I'd be like, and you said 1,300 to 1,500, I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. That wouldn't be shocking to me at all.
Yeah,
but now that seems.
Here's the other thing though, Jared. I'm also paying more money.
What city are you going
to? I'm flying in Frankfurt, but I'll be chilling in Dusseldorf. Actually.
Oh, cool. Sorry, you're paying more money for what?
I'll be paying more money for these tickets because I'm going to pay the extra money so I can have them refunded in case God knows what happens, because we don't know. So if I didn't get them refunded, Jared, they would be around 11 to 12.
You know, it's just so interesting because this is all happening so quickly, and you're talking about this like I don't know. I'm not putting any. You're not talking about it like in any sort of way. It's just like, oh, this is like it's just like it's all coming up very, very quickly. Is all I'm saying.
It is. I mean, I've asked for vacation time at work and I've gotten approved, so that's all good. So the last thing will be booking the tickets and actually getting over there, which I hope will still be doable.
I just did a quick pull, as we call it in the business, on Kayak. And the going rate's like 13 to 15.
See? There you go.
Jesus.
Now,
Lufthansa is the most expensive at 15, and Delta is around 13.
Okay. Now, I could save some money if I flew out of Chicago, but honestly, bro, I don't want to have to travel all the way to Chicago.
It's a hassle.
Just to fly out, and then when I come back and I'm going to be tired, I have to come all the way back from Chicago.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a 40 minute drive from where I'm at. That's way better, I think, than having to do a 4-hour journey just to get a couple hundred bucks off.
For sure. You're going to put your parents through that? Because we all know that it's your parents that's driving you.
I was going to ask you.
You must be out of your damn mind.
I thought we were going to make a little bro road trip. I was going to ask you to come with me to Germany.
That's a hard pass. Were you seriously going to ask me?
What, to go? I don't know. Can you get vacation time that quick?
Yeah, I can.
Can you really? Look at you, Mr. Baller Man.
What do you mean? I have a normal job. Yeah,
well, I don't know
can.
in corporate America how long you need to give
every
notice.
job I've been at, even when I was an intern. No, you don't need to give any notice. I mean, you need. Okay. I mean, it's not. You don't. The notice is courtesy, not some sort of built-in rule. So, like, for me, out of courtesy, I'll at least give a week's notice. But ideally, you give a little more than that if you're. But for like a day off, a week's notice is completely fine.
Right. Well, if you came to Germany, it'd be longer than a day off. That's for sure.
I thought I didn't realize you. Why do you always just assume that I'm going to go on all these adventures with you? From the camping, did I just turn orange all of a sudden?
You did a little bit, yeah.
What was that about?
I don't know. Lighting, weird.
What the hell? I should hold on. Let me turn on the light.
It's probably, or it just could be the sunshine coming through your window.
From camping to Germany, you're always just like, yeah. I just assumed you'd come with me.
Yeah, because
I feel like you should ask before you just assume these things.
That's fair.
That's fair. I don't mean to. I don't know if that's a bold thing to say.
Very bold, Jared.
But I feel like you should ask before you just make these assumptions so that I can go on. I don't know if I'm ready for an international trip.
That's fair.
Doesn't seem worth it to me.
I'm gonna try my best, and I hope everything will go all right.
Especially one that would happen a month from now. So
right, yeah. Listen, there's still lots of what ifs.
I'm happy to hear you're still actually planning on doing it.
Right. Well, and like I said, though, I am getting the flight with the refund just to be safe.
Do you still have your vaccine
extra
card?
$100? Oh yeah, of course.
Is it in good nick?
No, Jared, I burned it the day after I got vaccinated.
My cousin laminated his. I heard you weren't supposed to do that. He's a doctor, and he thinks he knows everything. So I certainly couldn't tell him that. But right. I heard you weren't supposed to do that on the chance that they might have to give booster shots later or something.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I'll be bringing it with me.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Oh, that's why I want to ask you. What's the vaccine rollout situation like in Germany?
It's a lot slower than over here.
I mean, I
that's
know
for
they're
sure.
definitely not where we're at, but
Right.
have vaccines been administered in Germany?
Oh yeah. Both my buddy who I'll be staying with, he's fully vaccinated and has been for a while, but he's a doctor.
He's a doctor, right?
His fiance, she will be fully vaccinated by then. So the people I'm staying with, they're completely vaccinated.
So it's happening. It's just they're behind the U.S. But we definitely, we're American.
well, some of it is
we
because
got
Germany.
It first. No, I'm kidding.
Well, some of it was because Germany was just not as. I'm just going to say they weren't quite as greedy with their purchasing of the vaccine as we were. I mean, there are certain places where we've over purchased and then, the vaccine's gone to waste, which is a shame because there's so many places around the world where, they could
But I
have
would
used
say
it.
there are arguments to be made. Not that we need it more here in the U.S. because I don't want to say that, but I would certainly say that the way that Americans work, like we were going down a much worse path just because of people's refusal to follow basic guidelines regarding the fact that there's a pandemic, and it was bad.
Yeah, that's true. But it's we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what will happen, Jared, because right now I don't think just your average American can just travel over there. So we'll have to see if because I'll be going, I think July 1st will be probably the day
Really?
I'm flying over there. Yeah.
So essentially a month from now.
Yep.
And you're saying that you're not even allowed to fly there. So, but there's flights that you can buy. What happens when you get to the airport?
Well, so what you have to do is you have to see. That's the thing this is where the question marks come. So you need to get a negative PCR test at the airport or have it like within 3 days before you travel.
Do they administer tests at airports?
And then when you land in Germany at the airport, they'll test you again, which I'm terrified. Like, what if you get like a false positive, or are they pretty accurate?
Why would you? Is it?
Well, I don't know
this,
how accurate the tests are.
Is this the fast one?
Yeah, this is the rapid
Well,
test.
they are less accurate, but that's such a. I mean, it's so funny that where your mind goes, where it's just you just seek out anything that can go wrong.
I don't seek it out. I'm just aware it could happen.
Right, but that's just so out of your control. Out of all the things that you can control regarding a trip, like that's what it's just the mind of an anxious person. Like you focus on the thing that you have no control over.
Yeah, I guess so.
A potential false positive. Yeah, what if the plane goes down, Chad?
Well, if the plane goes down, I'm probably dead, so it doesn't really matter.
I guess that's true. Who cares about? That's true. Who cares about it?
I mean, what are you going to do at that point?
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
But yeah, I guess I trust a pilot maybe more than I trust a rapid test.
PCR
maybe
rapid test.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, I would.
But yeah,
we'll
see.
I would bet that for a rapid test, they would, especially if you're vaccinated, and two, if you get if you don't get a rapid test beforehand, you get like a proper one and show that one. I would bet that they would give you more than one.
Right.
If you asked nicely.
I'm sure if I can actually get over there, I'm sure they have all that stuff worked out. It's not like they haven't had people travel. It's just been mostly EU citizens, from my understanding.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna knock on some wood and hope for the best, and hope
Honestly,
I can make it over there.
It's so funny that you're concerned about a false positive on a COVID test. You should be more concerned about getting punched out on an airplane. Apparently.
I feel like I'm not going to be getting in fights with people.
Yeah, no.
What do you think I'm going to do? Hey, you, put your mask on. What
dude,
do you think I'm going to be doing?
If there was a fight happening anywhere other than right in my in my 2 or 3 seat area, like even if it's just right across the aisle from me, and there's a full on fist fight going on, yeah, turn up the headphones, and I was looking straight forward. Looking straight forward. Just not even. I have to do. It would take everything in my power not to look, but it's like I don't want to give any attention to this. I don't want people to pay attention to me at all in this.
That is why, Jared, you keep a pair of shades on you, so you can also put on the sunglasses.
Yes.
Then you can watch the whole time, and they don't even see that you're technically looking.
This is one of the downsides to the transition. I've adopted the transition lens life as a glasses wearer, and so I don't even have any normal sunglasses right now since someone stole them out of my car years ago. So yeah, but that's a good idea, and that in itself, especially in this climate, is a great reason to get a new pair of sunglasses.
I will need, speaking of getting new stuff, I will need to get different types of masks because they do require the like KN955 whatever type of masks over there.
Yeah.
So they're
or like
legit.
the ones that, or like the duckbill ones. What's up with those?
That's the ones that they are kind of. They come out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they have those that are like kind of come out, but then they also have ones that actually look like a duckbill. Like they kind of look like one, but I know what you're talking about. Let's get into these untranslatables. We've chit-chatted for more than long enough. The untranslatables, by the way, for the people that don't know, are idioms, sayings, expressions that if you translate them into English or I guess any other language than their native language, don't really translate properly. But there's a meaning there somewhere. Chad and I are experts at getting down to what that meaning is.
That's right. And I'll get us started today, Jared, with a Mexican Spanish untranslatable. This one is a great one. This is actually a what would we call it? Like a combined word, where you are compound word is what I mean here. Sorry. So multiple words combined. Here we go. Peina bombillas, which means someone who combs light bulbs. It's like a nickname for somebody.
An idiot?
Very good, Jared. Very good. Yeah, someone who's kind of stupid or not so bright.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense because that sounds like a dumb thing to do.
Yeah. Don't know why you would ever want to comb some light bulbs.
My first untranslatable is Italian, and it's stare con le mani in mano. You should know what mano is.
Hand.
Yeah. You should. It's not you should, but I wouldn't. I'd be surprised if you didn't. I guess is what I should say. It's not. You shouldn't. Should is not.
Come
a weird
on,
word
Jared.
to use.
At the Untranslatable podcast, I should.
You should know
that
this Italian word, Chad.
That's right. I wonder how many random words you and I have picked up from doing this podcast over the years.
I think, yeah, definitely from doing this podcast, and I think even though I was never good at Spanish. I was never good at French. I took it for a long time. And I think just having a general base for Spanish, why do I keep saying Spanish? For French,
Français,
and German and English, sort of opens up a lot of words that you should kind of just know from what is it, being a cognate, essentially. I think it's more of that. It's like, because I know in French, hand is le main, which is... sort of a similar vibe to this Italian word for hand. To hold your hands with your own hand.
To do it all by yourself.
No, sir. No. Wah. No.
Can you give me a clue, Jared?
To hold your hands with your own hand. We have a similar untranslatable
DIY.
We have a similar. It's actually the opposite of both of those things you just said. We have a similar untranslatable involving one's hands, and the reason I say it's the opposite of what you just said is because both of those things you said
to lend a helping hand.
Once again, the opposite of that too. Everything you're saying involves activities and doing things.
So to sit around and do nothing.
There you go.
Okay.
And our English untranslatable...
Twiddle your thumbs.
No, it involves your hands specifically. Sit on your hands and do nothing.
Oh, okay.
You've never... Jesus Christ.
Allergies, Jared. Woo! All right. Sorry,
fair.
everybody.
I actually...
Allergies.
I tend to take a 24-hour allergy, just a daily allergy pill. And I think I happen to take it 2 hours ago, so it was right in the operating window.
It's a sweet spot.
So
there you go.
Because that's the exact sneezing is a common symptom for me too. I can't speak like this doesn't happen to me all the time.
Right.
You just got me at a good time.
But yeah, sitting on your hands, that makes sense. Yeah, you're just kind of sitting there not doing anything.
Yeah.
Well, let me hit you with a Dutch untranslatable, Jared. It is maak je borsten maar nat. Maak je borsten maar nat. I think you should get the first word, maak.
Yeah, to do or to make or something.
Yep. And how about, any idea what borsten could be?
Is it some sort of food?
No. It's similar to a German word.
Is it boobies?
Well, chest, but yes.
Okay.
Chest.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, chest.
It's not boobies? Okay.
And not if you switched the T with an S and made it a double S, you would have your German word.
Sorry, you lost me on that one.
Not. If you change the T with an S and then make it a double S, that's your German word.
Nos?
Nas.
Nos? I don't know
Which
what that
means
is. I don't
wet.
know what that is. With an A. Sorry, I thought I was thinking an O. Sorry. Nos. Okay. To make your chest wet?
Very good, yeah.
That sounds sexy as hell. That sounds like something like LL Cool J said in one of his songs. I'm going to make your chest wet, girl.
Well, I think actually the ladies would like it
that's
better if LL Cool J made his chest wet. I think.
Because he has a glistening pecs, is what you're saying?
Okay, how do you get those glistening pecs, Jared?
Oh, to make your chest wet is to work out, to exercise, to pump iron.
Not quite. Sorry, I led you down the wrong path
Damn.
here. It's
I thought
to
we were talking
prepare-
about how good a shape he was in.
Well, so here's the thing. It's to prepare yourself for a big task. So like if you were to shoot a music video,
I
looking
see.
good would be that would be that big task. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
I got
But yeah,
you.
I led you down the wrong path here. That's my bad. But yeah,
got you.
make your chest
No,
wet
I was
to
too
prepare
caught up
for
with
a big task.
I was too caught up with how I guess how beautiful his body was.
Right.
I got distracted. I have a Hebrew untranslatable for you, and it's le'echo. I don't know how to say it. Let me put this in. This is bothering me how much I'm butchering this. I know nothing about Hebrew, and I can't live with myself if this is just how I leave it. I'm sorry. I have to do this, but I'm almost there. All right, let's listen to this.
The echoes freedom.
Oh, that's English. No, okay.
The echo's freedom?
No, they played
Did it
the
say?
English. They played the English. I played it in English. They don't. You can't. No, damn it. You can't. You can't translate it. They can't. They don't have a speech for Hebrew.
For Hebrew? That's
Yeah.
a bummer.
Le echo stratum. It has nothing to do
means?
with echo. That was just
Right, that was the English
Yeah.
butchering of it.
to eat movies.
Oh, have we had this one before? It sounds familiar. To eat
Oh,
movies.
interesting. What is it then, Chad?
Well, I'm trying to remember. Being able to recognize Jared is
Because
not quite.
we are. It wouldn't be surprising that we have repeated a couple untranslatables.
No kidding.
But we also almost certainly don't remember even 2 episodes ago. So
Right. Let alone maybe even the last episode for
Exactly.
myself at least. Okay, so what was it again? To eat movies.
to eat movies. Yeah, this person eats movies.
It's to like be a film buff, right?
No, it's not that literal.
It's not.
I
Okay.
barely even call that an untranslatable.
That's fair. To eat movies. Is it someone who just doesn't? They're like a couch potato.
So what do we love? What do we love about movies?
Action, romance, suspense, explosions.
What do we love about reality TV?
It's trashy.
Okay, it's someone that to eat movies is someone that loves drama.
Oh, like a drama queen.
So
Okay.
essentially, they're like I think it's what they're getting at is like they like make everything a movie. Essentially, you know, they like you really have to make a movie out of this. You know, you can't just be normal and have a good time. You have to turn everything into some drama. You know.
Okay. Well, Jared, my next Dutch untranslatable might this might be the reaction with a person like this. My Dutch one is let's see here. Lemand achter het behang plakken. Gluing someone behind the wallpaper.
Gluing someone behind the wallpaper. Is it the same concept of like stabbing someone in the back, or lying about someone behind their back?
That's a little extreme. I wouldn't go that far.
Like talking about someone behind their back.
No. Mm-mm. It's nothing
or like
about
ignoring
behind
someone?
someone's back.
Okay.
It would be like If you and
it
I
sounds
went
like throwing
camping,
someone under the bus or something. But
also no.
okay,
It would be like if you and I decided to go camping, right? And we
or if you
decided
decided and said, "Oh, I thought you'd just come with me."
sure, and
Which is how it
you get
happens.
and you get in the Transit Connect, and we're driving down the road, and we decide to go maps off because that's just what we do. But
Hell yeah.
every 2 to 5 miles, Jared goes, "So are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?"
And you just want to peel me, and you want to peel me behind wallpaper.
I want to glue you behind the
Or
wallpaper.
glue me behind wallpaper. Is that to just like ignore someone or shut someone up or like?
No, it's to find someone very annoying.
Oh,
That's why I kept saying, "Are you there yet? Are you there yet?" Not that Jared would ever do that.
No, I guess I understood what you were getting at, but I guess in my American head, when I hear that untranslatable, I don't think that would translate to saying someone is annoying. Just how we. I don't know. That's just not what I expected. But that's why Chad, I love untranslatables. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't always just work like that. You know what also doesn't work like that? The illusion of freedom, Chad.
That's right, Jared. That's absolutely right. Let's talk about some things you can't do in the U.S. and you can in other countries. I'm going to start out, Jared, since it is Memorial Day weekend. Well, this episode will drop afterwards. But most
it drops
Americans,
on Memorial Day.
Or you're right. Most Americans today will probably be enjoying a couple adult beverages. However, in most places in the U.S., you
That's
cannot
true.
just walk around and enjoy your adult beverages. You need that inconspicuous, or would it be inconspicuous brown bag, right, Jared?
Yeah. Well, it's not even just that. I lived in Germany for 4 years, and there the drinking age for at least beer and wine was 16.
Yep.
I guess it still is. I say was. I imagine it
Right.
still is. And you come back to the U.S. and it's, I left Germany
21.
at 15. I was so close. And then I leave and it's like, no, son, you got another 5 years.
You know what's funny about that, Jared? My mom was that weird generation when they changed the drinking age.
They
they changed it from 18
or 19 or whatever.
Yeah, and then what happened was they had a lot of people just like underage drinking in high schools because your average senior in high school is 18 a lot of times, right? So my mom, when they changed the drinking age back, she had like 6 or 7 months where she technically wasn't old enough to drink yet. For like 2 years, she'd been
I've been drinking forever.
legally.
And now I can't do this anymore. This is ridiculous.
Right.
I bet you during those times, like going to liquor stores and buying booze, they were a little less concerned with checking people's IDs back then. I would
Probably,
imagine, especially
yeah.
during the time where they flipped back and forth. So yeah. I had a teacher in high school. He would always say that it's ridiculous that at 18 you're allowed to go fight for this country and they give you a gun and allow you to go kill people, but you can't drink a beer for 3 more years.
Right. And you can sign your soul away in student loans at 18. Mm-hmm. But God forbid you want to go get a
Or
cheap
credit card loans.
Yep.
People or credit card bills. People in college, that's another thing that they, in college they at a lot of schools, like big schools, they just prey on children and hey, get into credit card debt now as a child.
There was a
when you
kid,
know
Jared, I
nothing.
went to high school with who was over 15 grand in credit card debt
Yeah, and that's
before he graduated high school.
pretty normal. I mean, not normal, but that's not unheard of by any means.
Right.
By the way, Chad, freedom is an illusion. Can we say that in general? Is there any place in this world where one is truly free unless you, as you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, just like buy your own island
Right.
and go off the grid or whatever? And even still, you have to follow like some level of international law,
Right. Well,
you can't just grow like anyway, go ahead.
I would put it this way, Jared. I think if you want to be truly free, the way I view that statement, and that statement alone is a can of worms to begin with. But I think what that statement really means is being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want. Also, I guess with whomever you want, right? Now, I will say this though. I
Cannibalism,
think
murder,
sure.
rape. So so you're good with cannibalism and murder, but rape is where you draw the line.
I'm not good with any of those. First of all, don't try to paint me, Jared, as this guy who's.
That's fair. I guess you didn't say you were good with it.
But let me put it this way. I mean, freedom, really, the American way, I guess, should be or would be that you're doing whatever you want as long as you're not infringing on other people's pursuit of happiness.
That's
right?
fair. Yes, that's fair.
Or
you
harming
can't,
anyone else.
That's fair. You do have. I guess if the line has to be drawn somewhere, it's like you have to do. You can't prevent other people from having the same freedoms as other people because of what you did. Whatever that is that you did to someone.
But in a way, Jared, the people that I think are truly, maybe not truly is probably a little too extreme, but who are somewhat or more free than your average American are the people who buy a plot of land kind of in the middle of nowhere and kind of live off grid, and then they just do what they want. They can go hunt or fish and eat what they want.
But you still have to pay taxes. You're still on the water grid, the electricity grid.
Sure.
You're not really like you still are. You're not really any freer than someone that. I mean, well, that's not true. That's not true. I was gonna say you're not freer than someone that lives in the city, but you definitely are. That's true. But you're still beholden to a lot of rules.
Right. Well,
you
why, Jared?
Are not around people to get yourself in trouble is really more of what it is.
Yeah,
if you were to do anything that you want to do something that would theoretically get you in trouble.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. But what's interesting though, Jared, about the idea of freedom is, as you said, I do think a lot of it certainly is an illusion. But this idea of freedom, I think we like to kind of, as Americans, we like to take it in we like to apply it where we want and not apply it in other places, right? So what I mean by this is when we just have, if you look at the arguments about guns or arguments about freedom of speech, right?
Right.
People who argue for freedom of speech, they love it when they can say a lot of their, terrible things, but then when they face consequences, then they complain about quote unquote cancel culture and all this stuff. But I guess in theory, if you were in a truly free society, maybe you could say those things. I just can't imagine saying something and there not being some type of consequences or repercussions,
But that's not, at least in the U.S., there are no legal repercussions for saying those things unless you
incite violence.
Right, but then once again, as you mentioned before, then that falls in the category of putting other people in danger, like yelling, as the classic yelling fire in a movie theater or whatever. Like that, then you're involving other people. That's not you. So anything that you would say that you're talking about, it's like, well, who's hearing it? Because the pushback is not legal. It's just people saying we don't like that you said that. And that's completely different than being free or not. That's just people being like,
that's a good point.
We don't like what you said. But you could still say it. You could say Brad Pitt could go on his Instagram and just drop all sorts of N words and other sorts of racial slurs, and people probably wouldn't like it. But there's no legal repercussions for doing that.
Right.
Right. But let's get into, as I put it in my notes so eloquently, things. I just have a section of things.
Nice.
And these are the things that I thought of that are illegal in the U.S. But allowed in other places. We can go back and forth. I'm sure you have some too. Let's just go back and forth.
I definitely do. Well, we mentioned the drinking alcohol in public, so that was one.
It's interesting that you go specifically to public. I guess, it's actually, I will say this. You're right. You're 100% right. Age as well, too, as well as the drinking age, I think, is another thing, as we mentioned. But I think, at least in my tiny view, there has been loosening of that because, at least, I have family in New Orleans. There, the drinking outside culture has been a long-lasting thing. But now here in Ferndale, Michigan, where I live, during summer they have they call it a patio zone or something, and it's a pretty big area of Ferndale, sort of around where all the stuff is, where all the happening stuff is, where you're allowed to walk around with booze. But they have very specific rules. You have to buy the booze from restaurants that are participating, and then they have very specific cups that you're allowed to use. So it's not perfect because it's not like Germany, or not even just Germany. It's not like most of Europe, where you can just walk around with like any sort of bottle in your hand of booze.
Dude, that was such a weird revelation for me the first time I was in Germany, or second time, and we were at an open air concert outside. And I just remember seeing people walking around with drinks, and I'm like, what is happening? And I was 17 at the time, so I was old enough to drink over there, but not in the U.S. And so I got schmammered, to say the least, at that concert.
It threw me off as someone that, I knew that, intellectually that was allowed, but when it really sort of threw me off was when we were in Germany in Czech Republic a couple of years ago, and we didn't even do it maybe like once or twice. We just walked somewhere with a beer, and that was the first time where I had done that, because even though I knew that you could do that when I was younger, I'd never been old enough to do it.
Right.
And so for me to do that, I was like, I know legally in my head that I can do this, but it just feels so wrong, yet so right at the same time. Here's another one: prostitution.
Yep, that's a big one. Outside of Vegas, right? Because I do think it is legal in Vegas.
Yeah,
isn't
there's some random places, like spots in the U.S., like not just Vegas, because there's some. I know there are other cities in Nevada specifically that you can. But for the most part, it's illegal in the U.S.
You know why it's not legal in the U.S., Jared?
Slavery.
Well, I was going to say because our country was founded, I feel like, by a lot of damn Puritans.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a Christian country for sure.
We're a bunch of prudes, Jared. That's what we are.
You know,
on some
and
level.
It's so against logic too, because the whole logic is obviously not involved when it comes to this sort of stuff, but like there's so many there's no chance of prostitution not existing in these places, whether in anywhere in the world, whether it's legal or illegal, and there are plenty of examples of prostitutes having a much better standard of living and just safe work environment in places where it is legal. And it's like you're like, it's gonna happen. So why don't you at least allow people to be safe, you know, or like put in measures for people to be safe.
Right. Well, yeah, it's regulated better from my understanding, at least. I know at least in Europe, I know it's legal in Germany, Austria, the Netherlands. I know the
France, I believe, too.
Yep. I think they get tested. They have health insurance. Yeah. I guarantee you the people here in the U.S. are probably not. I mean, that's a terrible phrase to use. That's a whole other thing. Right. Is the health insurance, because that's something you can't get in the U.S. is affordable health care.
Yeah, right. Everyone in Europe is getting health insurance regardless, which is already a big step here in the U.S. Right. So in Europe, you don't even have to tie health insurance to someone's employment.
Can I do a couple quick health insurance things just to iterate how crazy it is in this country, Jared? So, for example, in the U.S., you can't take a ride in an ambulance if you're uninsured for under $1,000. I'm pretty sure, or maybe under $700. But I'm pretty sure it's which is crazy, because imagine you take a ride in an ambulance from, say, you live 5 miles away from the hospital. You know, you could have, in theory, taken an Uber there and spent what? $10-15 maybe.
Yeah, maybe if it's a surge cost of maybe $40.
Right. And then your ambulance ride will cost you, over $1,000. Yeah. In America, you can't, or let me put it this way. If you want to get your hip replaced, Jared, in America, how much it would cost, you could move to Spain, live in Spain for a year, learn how to speak Spanish,
probably hire a private teacher.
Have a bull ram into your hip, break your hip, go to the hospital, get your hip replaced, and fly back to the U.S. And that's how much it would cost to get a hip replacement.
It must be like what, $600,000-$700,000 to get a hip replacement.
I thought it was around $60,000 or $70,000, but maybe it's more than that. Either way, $60,000 still isn't nothing.
First of all, you can't do all that stuff for $60,000.
I bet you could. You could live in Spain for a year.
I guess you could move there. Sorry, when I heard move, I thought like buy a house. was
No,
like, you
I
could've-
didn't say buy a house. No, no,
That's fair.
no,
That's
no.
fair. That's fair. That's fair. It's only. I was way over. Way over. All right. I have another. Do you have any more health insurance stuff?
Well, let me think. Well, another one. If you have diabetes and you need insulin, most likely, if you don't have good health insurance, you're going to be spending over $100 a month on your insulin that
Yeah.
you need to survive.
What we're getting at is our health insurance here sucks.
Yep.
And you have the
incredibly
freedom.
expensive.
You do have the freedom to pay hundreds and hundreds, like low thousands per month for health insurance. That's your freedom.
And some Americans, Jared, do go either
Or
if
get a
they're close
job
to
that gives you
Canada.
health insurance if
Right,
you can.
right. Well, that's the smart way to do it. But there are some Americans who would go to Canada to buy prescription medications. Some Americans that were
Yeah.
close to Mexico would go over the border to Mexico to buy stuff. So
Yeah.
that just goes to show you.
Here's one. So yeah, we could go on forever and ever about how expensive health insurance is here or healthcare is here, but let's move on. I think people get the point. I have one that I did a little bit more digging into in preparation for this episode, but I've known about for a while.
Okay.
Kinder eggs are illegal in the U.S.
Oh yeah, yep.
Americans
Choking
do
hazards.
not have the right to let their kids choke on candy.
Yep.
Like, I can't make that decision on whether or not I believe my kid is smart enough not to eat a tiny toy. So a
Oh,
Kinder
come
egg
on, Jared. We know your kids wouldn't be. Come on now.
no, yeah, for sure. A Kinder egg, for those of you that don't know, is a German candy, and it's a chocolate egg. It's small,
Delicious.
and it's just a hollow chocolate egg, and on the inside it has a
An
tiny.
Überraschung.
An Überraschung, I guess. Was that a gift? Is that what the Überraschung means?
Surprise.
A surprise. Oh, right. See, dude,
Kinder
my German's
surprise.
getting weak. My German's getting weak. Überraschung is surprise. Die Überraschung, because it ends in UNG.
Very good, Jared.
100% going to be D.
You need to prep me for Germany so I can go over there and I don't sound like a complete fool.
So in the middle they have these tiny little toys, and sometimes you can like put little things together, and they involve these tiny plastic pieces. And I have a quiz for you. Just I don't know if
Ooh.
you know the answer to this. Do you know how long Kinder eggs have been illegal in the United States?
Probably since the 90s.
1930. 1930s.
I didn't know Kinder eggs have been around that long.
They've
Wow.
been illegal in the United States since the 1930s.
Okay.
Which blew my
Interesting.
mind as well. I had no
Right.
idea that, first of all, that they'd even be that concerned about children's safety back then.
That is
But
crazy.
second of all, I guess it was less surprising to me that the Kinder eggs have been around that long. It's a pretty simple toy, It's a
Right.
pretty simple candy, and Kinder is one of the, I imagine,
Bigger
most
ones,
popular
for sure.
German candy companies. Do you have another one you want to give? We can go back and forth.
Let's see here. Things you can't do in the
If you
U.S.
don't, I have ones. If you don't have one off the top of your head,
Another
I have
one. This
off
is
the top of my
a
head.
funny one, Jared. In the Czech Republic, it is fully legal to grow and use magic mushrooms. From my
Yeah, that was
understanding,
gonna-
in the U.S., it's still illegal.
That was going to be my next one too. Just drugs in general is
Mm-hmm.
a big one. I mean, we know that the classic is like in Amsterdam, marijuana and I believe magic mushrooms are also legal. In
I think so.
Portugal, all drugs
Everything,
are
yeah.
decriminalized. I don't know if they're legal, but they're decriminalized. So you don't. I mean, what is a fine if you have some? I don't know. I don't really know what that fully means, but you're not going to jail or getting into any sort of serious trouble. Here's one for you, but here's one that blew my mind. And I can't fully guarantee this, but I have done some digging, and I believe this to be true. Apparently, in North Korea, marijuana smoking is pretty normal and not frowned upon, or
Doesn't
not
it-
really.
Doesn't it grow naturally over there or something? Because I think that's why.
Oh, does
right?
it?
I would imagine so. Can you imagine? I cannot imagine I don't know.
I read somewhere that they had they had like issues with like methamphetamines and heroin, real drugs.
Right.
And those have pretty serious
Jail sentences,
yes, this what's it called when you get in trouble?
crime, punishments.
Punishment, thank you. Very serious punishments for stuff like that. But apparently, smoking weed in North Korea, I almost said North Carolina, in North Korea, no big deal. The cops won't really bother you about it. I mean, and, granted, if you're a tourist in North Korea, not Carolina, I wouldn't recommend
Probably
it.
North Carolina too.
Even if they say it's fine, I still wouldn't recommend it.
Right. Right.
But apparently, it's no big deal. And in the U.S., the U.S. is slowly adopting like a fully recreational, and this is on a state by state basis, because on a national on a national basis it's still, or federal I should say,
still
federal basis it's still
completely
illegal.
Yeah.
But states are slowly changing, but slowly. I think there's probably still at this point more states than not where it's recreationally legal. Now maybe medically there's probably more states than not that are.
I think
I would
so.
say at this point, but definitely not. I would say probably not recreational, but probably medical. But still, there's still a number of states where it's fully illegal. Plenty of states where only medical. Plenty of states where it might be medical, but you got to jump through a whole bunch of hoops and essentially be on your deathbed. So it's not. It's still a very difficult thing to access. Yet, if you're in North Korea, you can smoke weed freely. How crazy is that?
That's
and not just
pretty
North
interesting.
I mean, not just North Korea. That's just the most surprising to me personally, where you think
that is pretty surprising.
The freedoms are pretty limited.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah.
You know what's another big one, though, Jared, that I would say that you can't really do in the U.S. very easily is just traveling around via public transportation. Like if you were to try to arrange a U.S. trip only using our trains and bus system, good luck.
Yeah. For sure.
Good luck.
You might experience less fistfights than on an airplane, though.
I don't know about that. Have you seen some bus stops? I don't know about that.
That's true.
But, I just think it's so crazy that our infrastructure for the most part...
Do you blame that on freedom, though? I blame that on just...
well, I'm saying you don't have the freedom... Well, you don't have the freedom to travel cheaply unless... Well, and even if you have your own car, that's not even necessarily cheap, right?
I think what
it's
an
cheaper
American
than some other
would
countries,
tell you is that if you think that that's an issue, you should start the company.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and totally
Listen,
redesign.
I agree with you. It's a dumb thing to say, but that's what an American might say.
I was waiting for you to say, if you don't like it, go to a different country.
Yeah, if you don't like it, then leave.
That's right.
We'll just back to the drugs real quick. This is not I mean, it is a drug, but it's absinthe is another one.
Oh, yeah, that's legal in Prague, I think, isn't it? Or in the Czech Republic,
It's a pretty big thing in Czech Republic, I've learned. Absinthe has become increasingly available in the U.S. in recent years and is now a fixture in a number of, Tony cocktail bars. What the hell is Tony? Anyway, cocktail bars. My cousin Chris, he was here in Michigan a couple weeks ago, and he brought a bottle of absinthe, and he insisted that we have a shot of absinthe. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever put in my mouth in my life. But apparently you're supposed to do. So I asked him. I was like, I thought there was some process where you're supposed to it involves a sugar cube or whatever.
I think
and
so.
He's
like water too or something.
Yeah,
right?
and he's like, I think they only do that process not because that's how the hallucinations are achieved, but because of how gross it tastes. I think it is like to manage the taste. And it wasn't even the grossness of it. It's like a strong sort of like a licorice, like black licorice sort of thing. Right. It has this like long, like it doesn't go, like it stays on your palate for minutes. Like the taste stays in your mouth for like a couple. I was like, why has this not gone away? I've drank other things. It's been 3 minutes and I can still taste absinthe. Absinthe has become increasingly available in the U.S. in recent years in a number of cocktail bars. However,
is it the legit type though?
However, the Sazerac being one of the, but the FDA still insists on regulating thujone, the chemical credited with the drink's mind-bending properties. No absinthe sold in America contains more than
mind-bending properties. I like that. That's funny.
No absinthe sold in America contains more than 10 milligrams a liter of thujone, famously a derivative of the wormwood plant. This is why true connoisseurs of the green fairy who are unsatisfied with domestic options head to the Czech Republic, where wormwood-infused spirits are available with up to 100 milligrams of thujone compared to the 10 that you're going to get in the U.S.
Start seeing some green
so if you
fairies.
actually want to experience those mind-bending properties, you got to go outside of the U.S. because apparently the FDA thinks that they know better than us Americans on what we're allowed to put into our system.
That's right. Give me that freedom, Jared.
Exactly. Oh, you're telling me that the Czechs are more free than us? They can have some thujone, but you think
Right.
you're protecting me? You don't know what I need, America. Let me
That's
make
right.
these decisions.
Well, it boggles my mind to this day, Jared, that we even had prohibition of alcohol. Like the idea of banning alcohol in this entire country,
Which is
and
why
we still
NASCAR
have some
exists
dry
today
counties
because of
and
that,
stuff.
by the
right?
way.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, we do. There are just ridiculous alcohol rules around. So we're from Michigan.
Can't buy them on Sundays in certain states, right?
Yeah, we're from Michigan, where it's pretty free. You can buy them in any sort of store at any time of the day. You can go to a liquor store that's open 24 hours a day. It's pretty free here. But yeah, as you mentioned, there are states where you can't buy it on Sunday. You can't buy it before noon.
If you have a waning moon on a Tuesday on an odd year, when your mayor's last name starts with a C.
Yeah, if Christmas falls on Sunday, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like there's also places where it's like, well, you can buy beer and wine from this store, but you have to buy liquor from this store, and none of these stores are both. Like that's what it was in Pennsylvania. There was a beer and wine store, and there was a liquor store. No, excuse me. There was a beer store, and then there was a wine and liquor store. And while I was there, they had just changed the law, or they were just transitioning to allowing grocery stores to have just beer and wine, but no liquor. So there's still the need for the other store.
Right. Yeah, that's so crazy. It's another like this one, I guess technically, Jared, you could do, but I think it's very culturally frowned upon. And if you did that, oh man, I think your coworkers would not appreciate it. Would be taking a nap, maybe even a couple-hour nap during the middle of the workday, like especially like after or during lunch, which I certainly saw in China. Now, I don't think they would take a 2-hour nap, but I would see at least half-hour to an hour nap in a lot of places.
And they're not in like a park. They're just in. I mean, they could be in a park.
They
but
could. Oh,
they're
they
not
for
limited
sure could
to
be
a
in a
park,
park.
are they? Are they just? They're just in
anywhere. It seems
I feel
like just
you could
wherever.
I feel like you could take a nap in public. Maybe not if you're black. Maybe then people would call the cops on you or something. But I feel like I could get away with taking a nap in a park.
It's not.
But
the
I think it'd be harder
at the park.
outside of a park or like in more public places than that.
Well, I think the thing would be the stigma with taking a nap during your workday, like being like, all right, I'm going to go take
you would
a
definitely be
hour
considered
nap.
lazy for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure. Yeah, it would be very stigmatized, and people would just assume bad things. Here's another one for you: polygamy.
Well, it depends where you are, right? Because don't they or did they outlaw that in Utah or Vermont or wherever the hell it was?
I think it's still. I don't know. I actually don't know.
It's where all the Mormons are, right?
But in general, it is illegal in the United States. I can't speak for where Mormon country in Utah, what they're doing over there,
right?
Or even how popular that is. But I will say that in general, polygamy, polygamous marriages, meaning marrying more than one person, is illegal in the United States. And it's recognized legally in almost 50 countries around the world.
Oh, interesting.
And so there are plenty of countries that they're like, yeah, well, look at these barbarians.
Isn't polygamy when you have more wives, and then polyandry is when you have multiple husbands?
Is that what that is?
I thought so, but I could be wrong.
That makes sense. And it also makes sense that polygamy would be way more popular than polyandry because, this is a male-dominated society, I know you don't agree with that, but that's how I feel. I like to dip into your manosphere lane, see if I can poke at you a little bit.
Get me triggered.
But yeah, I mean, I imagine the excuse for polygamy is more goes down to, I guess it's funny.
Well, it's family.
No, I was gonna say it goes down to like tax reasons is probably mostly why people claim it's illegal. But I'd also imagine there might be some like Christian beliefs in there that are like that's saying that's wrong. Unless you're as Mormon. I'm asking the wrong person. Never mind. I was gonna ask, is Mormon an offshoot of Christianity, or is it just completely different? Because I know it's like some guy named Ed that like
wasn't it Calvin? John Calvin?
No, I don't think it was John.
Or no, that was for Calvinism. Never mind.
No, but I think it was some guy that like got some message from God. But then I think it was.
And then
like
he wandered out to Utah, right?
But I think it is based off of Christianity. I think it
so
is.
too. Yeah,
honestly, I think
too.
he was just doing some mushrooms and and he had an epiphany. Here's another one. And honestly, this is probably for the best. Haggis. Are you familiar with haggis?
You mean like the Scottish food haggis?
Yes, the Scottish food haggis. Haggis
which is sheep stomach, right?
I believe so. I'll read to you what it is.
Is it illegal to eat haggis in the States?
It's not illegal to eat it. It's illegal to sell haggis.
Really?
And it's not. I think you're actually wrong. A Scottish dish consisting of sheep or calves,
tripe,
offal mixed with suet, oatmeal, and I think it's lung is what it is actually.
Tasty, delicious.
Ugh. I believe it's lung, because here now they call it. Oh yeah, it's heart. Oh, it's a mixture. Oh God.
No thanks. Thanks, but no thanks.
I'm actually very hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet, and this just neutralized all of that.
There you go.
Let me read this disgusting sentence for you. Haggis is a savory pudding containing sheep's pluck, which consists of heart, liver, and lungs, minced with onion, oatmeal, suet, spices, and salt. Suet, by the way, is the raw, hard fat of beef, lamb, or mutton found around the loins and kidney.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on that.
Ugh. Gosh, what is wrong with these Scottish people? That is... Oh, God. And it's the most disgusting thing about it is that it looks like a pudding, It's like a meat pudding.
Yeah, that's nasty.
There's a picture on Wikipedia where it's on some platter with a freaking sword in front of it. Anyway, it's banned because it contains sheep's lung, which has been prohibited by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I guess USDA would be what that is.
Okay.
That's all I got.
I guess.
We're not as free as... There are plenty of other things, by the way, but we're not as free as we think. There are plenty of the foods, by the way, in general, that are illegal here, which is interesting because there's also plenty of man-made chemical food that is illegal in other countries,
but fully
legal here. Yeah,
right.
It's like, yeah, but you want orange...
Oh, well, Jared, we're going to
Cheetos?
have to do a flip side episode of
For sure.
things we can do in the States, but you can't do abroad.
Oh, for sure.
But I mean, a lot of them, I think, boil down to like laws about, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, basically, right? I wonder how censorship, because I do know, I'm pretty sure in Europe, they don't censor the radio stations. So that's another thing. You can't listen to the original WAP song on the radio. They gotta
interesting. Oh, that's another one, actually.
Version.
Speaking of censoring in Germany, that reminds me of, as I brought up the other day, what is it? They have magazines in Europe.
Oh,
with just like naked people,
the naked ladies,
and they're just front and center on newsstands. Like these things aren't hidden back somewhere. You
don't
can just
gotta
walk
go through
past
some little curtain,
right? You just walk
shady.
past the newsstand, and it's like, all right, we have Time, we have the New York Times, and we have some titties.
Yep,
that's how they do it.
It's
in
the
a lot
trifecta of morning news, Jared.
Yeah, I want to learn about the various conflicts around the world.
Süddeutsche Zeitung and titties.
I want to learn about some conflicts around the world. I want to learn about some local conflicts, things happening in my neighborhood, and I want to see some titties.
Exactly. Oh man, but I mean that's another thing though, Jared. Is just it's so funny that I think it's fairly safe to say it seems like a lot of we have a gigantic porn industry, but then the sex industry in the United States in terms of like prostitution.
It's so weird how that is.
Yeah,
I mean,
isn't it strange?
So many comedians and TV shows have made the joke about how, I remember specifically from Family Guy, where they made the joke about how it's illegal for me to hire this prostitute, but if I just film it, now we're filming a porn. So it's no longer. So now I can pay you for sex, and it's no longer illegal. It's like
we have so many weird.
Yeah, listen, you could do this, but if you're going to pay someone for sex, you got to film it and put it on the internet, okay?
That's right. Oh, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there are any other final things that you can't do here that you can do in other countries. I mean, the big ones for me were definitely like as we mentioned, like the sex and the drugs for sure, but also just like transportation, here in the States, it's really hard. Like I can't imagine trying to live here without a car. Like in some cities, sure, it's very doable, but like where I live right now, it would not really be possible.
And I guess I'd only push back on you on that because I blame that on capitalism. I think if the demand was there, then you would see it, but the demand.
We just love our cars too much, Jared, and I love my cars too. I like being able to get in
You don't want to
drive around.
You don't want to ride a bus.
Not if I don't have to. That's
exactly.
for sure.
Exactly.
That's for sure. All right, Jared. Well, this has been a good one, and I think we've covered some of the big important things that you can't do in the U.S., but you could do in other countries.
Only the big, only the important.
That's right. But if you know of anything that we can't do in the U.S. that we left out, please let us know at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. You can slide into those DMs on Twitter, untranslatable1, the number 1. Check us out on Instagram and YouTube, Untranslatable Podcast. And lastly, please, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and do svidania.
So, dude, if everything goes as planned, which it should, next episode will be in a different house.
Nice.
I get my Wi-Fi installed on Wednesday.
Ooh, cutting it close.
What do you mean cutting
it close?
What do you mean?
Because we record on Saturday, but there's any hiccups and they don't come till Friday.
How would that happen? I mean, that's never happened before.
I mean, really? You've never? All right, well.
No, if I'd scheduled. They said that I've never had an appointment, and they just straight up didn't show up.
That's good.
Before.
I had a no-show. I had actually gotten the stuff, and then they were supposed to come in, and because my apartment, they'd just gotten a new thingy, I guess, and they needed somebody to come and set it up, and they missed their appointment, and then I just was like, screw it, I'm going to figure it out myself, and I figured it out.
Listen, let me be clear. I'm not giving any credit to cable companies. I have had instances where they've come out.